Yo, what's up guys, John Boogle here, and here we are with the second part of this advent. Honestly, this one is a bit of a big joke because the main reason a lot of people struggle with this advent is because of R.Ost, but take that away and this revenge stage becomes very easy, and plus, no restrictions either, so you can just slap on your anti-zombie Ubers. If you do have any, make sure to absolutely use them, they will help out a lot. Of course, you can bring a whole bunch of anti-raids as well if you want. Keep in mind, this is just the standard lineup. There's a lot of things you can change, like instead of bringing Manic Island, you can bring Row. You can bring dual islands, you can bring Ubers, but make sure you at least have one consistent Z killer. In this lineup, we're using Little Flying, which is a very nice option, but during the seal phases, we're gonna have to use Housewife. And just make sure you also have one consistent unit that can hold off the Mask Boy alone, and for that we have of course Manic Island, and like I said, Row works as well. Talented Bondage, there's no restrictions here, so you can go wild and it's a pretty easy level. Don't stress too much about it. This is pretty much the victory lap right after beating the previous stage. Just make sure to have the two things I mentioned, one consistent Z killer and one anti-raid unit that can hold off and have a very solid uptime against the Mask Boy. The rest is pretty simple. Now of course, Holy Blast does destroy the stage if you do have it high enough level. Ours is level 2, but we're only using it to fight off against that zombie seal burrow. So if you have it higher leveled, it'll help out a lot more. Now you don't need any power-ups for this stage, but if you are really struggling to stack up your cash in the beginning, then I do recommend bringing a rich cat to make your life 10 times easier. Other than that, if you can stall these snakes pretty well and get some nice cash stacked up before you hit the base, you should be pretty fine. That's really only the main struggle in this level, is trying to get your cash stacked up before you hit the base, because if you over push too hard, you can hit the base too early and you won't be prepared. And since there is zombies in this level, you want to cover as much ground as possible, as quickly as possible, because each wave of the zombie seal is gonna take away more and more space for you to fight in this level. So you want to make sure you have as much space in the beginning as possible. So you guessed it, the strategy here is of course pushing hard, and that's pretty much what you're going to do for the rest of the level. During each phase for the seal, you just want to make sure you have Holy Blast up and use it, and just rush pretty much. Push hard and just keep pushing hard consistently until you finish all of the seal waves. And then it'll just be a very easy battle after that, with just cycling islands and your anti-raids. Now the reason I said to bring a consistent Z killer is because the many pesky peons that do burrow after the seal phase and after you use your Holy Blast can ruin up your stalling, and it can make you lose a whole bunch of ground in this level, and you want to keep as much ground as possible. So having something like Little Flying to easily sweep up all of the pesky little peons helps out greatly, and that's really the only thing you have to look out for in this level. The zombie seal phase is pretty easy to catch, and there is 4 phases for the zombie seal, and they're on like a 1-minute interval, so it's very easy to catch those and keep those in mind and saving your Holy Blast. But the thing that is hard to catch is the other peons, the zombie pigs and other little snakes and other stuff. It's very hard to catch if you're not paying attention, so that is why cycling Little Flying and your other anti-zombies are very crucial for getting your stallers up there, because you want to cover as much ground as possible. Like I said before, the more ground you waste in this level, the harder it'll become, because the face will constantly be moving forward if you don't get your stallers or other units up there in time. That means slowly you will come to your base, and fighting close to the base with zombies is already a yikes moment, but with the face there just makes it even worse. Now if you have high enough level units, you won't really have to use stallers, and you can use cat combos instead and rely on your high leveled units to tank some hits and stay alive and hold some ground on their own. But since our units aren't that high leveled for this Merciless stage, which generally you want to have around level 35 to 40 units, ours is really in that minimum mark for this stage. So having stallers is just a huge help, because our units aren't going to be able to survive multiple hits. So if you have level 40 units, you can just go with minimum stallers or no stallers at all. Maybe just equip in row and get some cat combos, and you should be pretty much set. So with all those things in mind, absolutely always make sure to save your Holy Blast for every zombie seal phase. It isn't something you should pay too much attention to, but just make sure you do save your Holy Blast. It should be an easy thing to keep an eye on. The thing you really want to keep an eye on is the other peons that burrow past all of your main units. So that is why we have little flying to sweep up all those units, like the pig and the zombie snakes. When you save your Holy Blast for every zombie seal phase, you're not going to be able to control all the zombies that burrow past your main units. That is why in the beginning of the video I recommended a consistent Z killer, that you bring one consistent Z killer, and maybe your main unit can be just a zombie nuker that can stay in the front lines and take care of the zombie seal, but the other unit you want to bring is your backup for all the pesky peons that burrow, and we went with little flying. Pretty much find a consistent Z killer. Little flying really is the best option here for the cost and recharge, so just make sure not to use your anti-zombie ubers for the peons that burrow past your main units. You want to keep that for the zombie seal and have another zombie killer for the other peons. As for anti-red goes, you really don't have to worry too much because most of the battle is going to be against the zombies, but once you handle the 4 phases of the zombie seals, pretty much Manic Island is enough to handle it alone. But if you want to make it go by faster, you could bring stuff like row, and we have Can for the zombie seals, and of course the mask boy himself. But if you're using combos and no stallers, this part is going to be very quick and a very big joke. Just cycle your anti-reds and he's gonna die eventually. Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for this guide. There isn't really much strategy in this level, only things you should look out for and units you should bring, and the rest is just clicking your squares. But really the beginning is the most important part. If you could stack up a nice stack of cash in the beginning, you're pretty much set for the rest of the level, and that's really the only strategy to the level. Other than that, save your Holy Blast for zombie seal phase, cycle your anti-zombie unit for the pesky peons, and anti-red mask boy to hell. That's pretty much it. Take away R.Ost and this level becomes even more of a joke, and no restrictions means you can use your overpowered ubers and you won't need that much high leveled units if you are doing so. Yeah, that wraps up the guide for Revenge of Carnage. A pretty easy stage. If you are struggling, comment down below, I'll try to help you out. And if this guide did help you out, make sure to drop a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new, of course. Join the hashtag Boogle gang. There's going to be a limited invite to the Discord in the description below, so make sure you go check that out. Only a couple uses, so first come, first serve. Yeah, it's been John Boogle, and I'll see you for Queen Bitch Revenge Advent Guide soon. See ya.